God dropped acid, would he see people?
Herb is the healing of the nation.
Now, when I was in England, I experimented with marijuana. I did not like it. I did not inhale. I did not try it again.
Smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers, rolling fatty, smoking blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts, rolling blunts and smoking.
Ass to ass.
Choose life.
Hello, buglers! Welcome to the second Buglr podcast. I am Diana de Buglr.
And I am Robert de Buglr.
And we are here to present a special, hazy, drug-filled podcast. We now begin with the news section, hot off the presses. First up, politicians and drugs, a love story.
We start the hot off the presses section with Dirk Veldman, a South African MP who, in July of 2012, while on a flight from Johannesburg to Mumbai, washed down some medication with a whiskey and, at altitude, tried to let himself off the plane. This was an experience that left a deep impression on him, but not perhaps as deep an impression as he might have made on the surrounding countryside.
The acceptance of drug antics from our elected officials, when it came, happened within the width of a generation. Even President Obama has admitted to smoking pot. The first mile marker, of course, was Bill Clinton, who famously stated during his first presidential campaign,
"When I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it, and didn't inhale, and never tried it again."
So I guess that all the special brownies being cooked in the White House kitchen were all part of his no smoking policy. Now we all know what the midnight runs to McDonald's were all about.
The best our cousins to the north had to offer was Rob Ford, the former mayor of Toronto, Ontario, who should have been shamed out of office for drinking and driving, public drunkenness, and smoking crack cocaine on video. For a time, his life was a regular home entertainment centre for all and sundry, but to truly appreciate the man, you really need to have a small sample of him.
Litigation will be starting shortly. I've had enough. That's why I warned you guys yesterday. Be careful what you wrote. Okay, so that's all I have to say for now. And the next thing I want to call Mayor Britannia in Hamilton and tell them that we're going to have to spank their little tiger cats. Oh, and the last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy, Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
Anything that was true?
That's all right.
Rob, did he just tell a group of reporters that he had more than enough pussy to eat at home?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Point blank, point of fact. And I can't honestly say that that's his most outlandish statement.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But even when the rogues gallery of abusers fade from the stage, including the unnamed champions yet to join the pantheon, one politician's drug of choice undoubtedly made an indelible impression on a rising generation of voters. I speak, of course, of when retired 75-year-old Senator Bob Dole came out to the world as a serial Viagra user.
Yeah, no. He must have been at it like a rabid rabbit. Ugh. And speaking of rabbits, this wonderful story comes to us from the Hull Daily Mail in England, and this was from earlier in August this year, where a drug-dealing couple who'd managed to hide about £9,500 worth of amphetamine in a rabbit hutch managed to walk free from court. Michael Eastland, who's 46, and Jennifer Ward, 49, were caught with more than a kilogram of what in Britain is a Class B drug with, in the UK, a street value of £13,000.
I would just like to say that that's about $20,000 in real money.
Yes, indeed. It was actually Ms. Ward who was stopped by the police while driving her Ford Focus. The Hull Crown Court was told that when officers pulled her over at 11 o'clock on the night of November 26, 2014, the car smelt of cannabis. She claimed that she had smoked a joint earlier a friend had smoked a joint earlier in the vehicle. So the police naturally searched her and the car and found drugs including almost 1.9 grams of cannabis and about 3,500 pounds worth of amphetamine.
That's $5,000 in real money.
Mm-hmm. Of which, almost 7.25 grams of amphetamine had been secreted within her bra. They also recovered 682 pounds in cash. Care to tell us what that is in real money?
That's about $1,000.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Subject to a further search at the police station, she was found to have another 1.8 grams of amphetamine in her waistband, to which she said,
"I thought I'd already given the sergeant everything."
Naturally, the police went to their home address, so they searched the house and discovered more cannabis and amphetamine in the bedroom, and then, inside of a rabbit hutch, a further 804 grams of amphetamine in a quote-unquote small container in a bin liner.
Yeah, the couple has pleaded guilty to the possession and intent to supply.
Part of the most spectacular thing in this is that they claim to have only paid £500. A quick guess, about $750.
Yep, that sounds about right.
You're welcome. For the drugs in the rabbit hutch from a man they'd call John. When this was mentioned in mitigation, the judge, John Dowes, said, "I have been dealing with drug cases for the best part of 25 years, and in my experience, drug dealers don't offer bargains."
I feel like the officers who are walking through their house must have been like a scene out of The Sopranos, where Tony hears the feds are coming and he just starts shoving the piles of cash that he has into all of his different hidey holes in his house. But these two sound like much less informed, less well-dressed, let's use the word maintained human beings. Literally just cramming their amphetamines and pot and cash just anywhere they could find it.
I'm just grateful that you didn't suggest that perhaps the money should have been put in the Monopoly set where it would have blended in. Uh-huh.
I'd want to know if the police did a thorough enough check. Did they check the goldfish for heroin? The rocks on the bottom of the bowl, are those really crack cocaine? Is the water vodka?
And who knows what the straw the hamster's sleeping on really is. Bizarrely, it gets better. Michael Eastland, with only one previous conviction, received a 15-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years, and was also ordered to do 250 hours of unpaid work. The judge was given a letter from Eastland's employer who said it would be a pity for him to lose his job over this unfortunate mishap. Judge Dowes responded that I am not entirely sure his employer knows what has gone on.
That's impressive. I guess they don't do drug testing at his employment.
They may start. And as for Jennifer Ward, she had 53 previous convictions and was once jailed for 3.5 years and was facing her third conviction for supplying drugs. A mitigating factor that was presented in court was that her 83-year-old father depended on her. So,
what exactly was he depending on her for? Do we know?
Probably
was she on her way there for, a supply drop-off?
Medical marijuana, maybe. So the judge deferred her sentence for 6 months. She sobbed in the dock as he told her, "The chance I'm going to give you is one you simply do not deserve. But there are other people affected by your life. calling her repeat drug offending a disgrace, he said, "It is a chance, maybe your last in life." Props to the guy. Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be said that a lot of people's lives depended on her. Some because she was supporting them, some because she was supplying them. And drug addiction is no, real laughing matter, but hiding it in a rabbit hutch, points for style.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of commitment to your craft that she has perfected.
Now we interrupt our regular program with saucy drugs and sports news.
The biggest story of the World Athletics Championship in Beijing has been bad boy Justin Gatlin's feud with the BBC. Gatlin, a twice-banned drug cheat, has refused to do any interviews with the BBC after they promoted his epic showdown with squeaky clean Usain Bolt as a battle of good versus evil. Gatlin has always protested his innocence on all charges, blaming his first positive drug test on accidentally taking amphetamines as ADHD medication.
Hey, we've all been there. Easily done.
His second explanation is even more implausible. After testing positive for testosterone, he explained that a masseur with a grudge had maliciously rubbed banned substances into his buttocks. Nobody believes him, and he was given a 4-year ban.
Masseurs with a grudge. They're just the worst. Hey, Justin, how come you're signed up to Ashley Madison? Babe, you gotta believe me, it was that fucking masseur with a grudge rubbing a keyboard on my buttocks.
And swiping the credit card down my arse crack.
So, how'd you pick up this STD, JG baby? Where do you think, dumbass? A masseur with a grudge. Rubbing a naked woman on my dick all night, without me even knowing, for months.
And we've reached the climax of the news section on this high note.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
The hills are alive with the sound of music. Mr. Braun's Travelling Superstore. Mr. Braun's Travelling Superstore. You want it? We've got it. The cures for all your modern needs. Ah, good morning, Mother Abbess. How nice to see you. Always the best part of my rounds.
Good morning, Mr. Braun. Lovely day, isn't it? Here in our perfect Austria.
Delightful, Mother Abbess. On such a day as this, one wants nothing more than to sit outside and enjoy the peace and tranquility of this alpine paradise. We are so blessed to be Austrian. Oh dear, what was that?
We've taken delivery of a new novice, Mr. Braun. Maria. She is a handful.
Is she Austrian?
I fear not.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
I tell you, Mr. Braun, it's only been 2 days, and we're already at the end of our collective tethers. We've tried everything to calm her down, but nothing works. Prayer, the Bible, beatings, whippings. I've even built a secret basement dungeon and locked her in it, but to no avail. Tell me what to do. How do you solve a problem like Maria? How do you catch a cloud and pin it down? How do you make her stay and listen to what you say? How do you keep a wave upon the sand? Oh, how do you solve a problem like Maria?
Ritalin, the penultimate solution.
We now join the History of Drugs 101 correspondence course offered through Yale Community College. Those of you using this course as part of your continuing education credits will receive the mailing address at the end of the series. This article is presented by Professor Corinthian McPherson Strutt and Dr. Alison De Beers. Episode 11.
Good evening. Are you joining us here for episode 11, A History of Drugs, the 1970s, presented by myself, Professor Corinthian McPherson Strutt, and my colleague, Ali De Beers.
I'm Dr. Alison De Beers, Professor.
Yes, of course, my dear, of course. I'm terribly sorry and all that. What? So, the 1970s. The summer of love was over, and war had won over peace, and the Beatles had split up, and Hempheads and those LDS trippers.
It's the LSD trippers.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Well, they were all off getting jobs now, like Supreme Court judges, Secretary for Defense, and even in some rock bands. So, at that point, we ended up with some new drugs coming along to fuel the lust of the addicts. Nixon started his war on drugs in 1971, which, from what I can see, has been a great success over the years. Taking something grown by Mexican farmers and selling it to hippies for a reasonable profit sounds like organized crime, and led to that Cosa Nostra Italian opera business.
Corinthian. It's the Cosa Nostra. That's the mafia.
Oh shit, the mafia. Huh. Well, maybe that would explain why I woke up with a horse's head in my bed instead of the whore I requested. Anyway.
Yes. The early 70s were the start of ghetto chic, blaxploitation movies like Shaft and Blackula, and it was fueled by heroin brought back from Vietnam, the GIs who became addicted over there.
They used heroin as fuel instead of oil? Damn temporizing.
No, you're the fool. They took it. They injected the heroin into their arms to get high.
That heroin. So, GIs in Vietnam, and then just on holiday or visiting over there, a few bases. What was going on?
Corinthian, the Vietnam War.
Oh, I do a history of drugs old thing. Don't know anything about wars. You didn't get involved in that one, did he?
Corey, I believe you were hiding under your bed wearing a dress the entire duration.
Damn sure it wasn't a dress. It was a blouse and skirt, old thing.
Anyhow, as well as heroin, the early 1970s were a period where amphetamines, known on the streets as speed, was very popular. Do you remember speed?
Yes, interesting substance. Mistook it one time for coffee mate, and I was awake for 2 days.
Speed was manufactured and distributed by the Hells Angels and some chemistry students from that other Yale down the road. Future President George W. Bush had already gotten caught taking coke and had a DUI, so his dad got him off for the speed supply charge.
I'm sorry, Ali. I thought we were supposed to keep quiet about that little tawdry episode.
Shit. I forgot. Editor, can you cut that bit out? Okay, so, Corinthian, in the early 70s, it gave way to disco, with all the trendy people at Studio 54 taking lots of coke, uppers, and downers.
Taking coke? Stealing soft drinks? I don't approve of that sort of behavior. No.
No, the kind that went up their noses.
Wouldn't the bubbles tickle? Sounds awfully.
The powder.
You get powdered soft drinks? You Americans think of everything.
Oh, God. I mean cocaine. Bolivian marching powder, the devil's dandruff. It was a time of massive excess, sparkly tops, and massive amounts of drug use. Famous actors, rock stars, royalty, politicians, all of them hung out with their tits and having a massive party.
Sparkly tops. Now I remember. Yes. It was like that back in England, you know. I went to Studio 11 in High Wycombe. Marvellous place. Beer, lager, and sherry there. All the sherry you could drink. It was an absolute riot. One night, I even stayed out until 11:30 at night. I got into terrible trouble with matron for that, you know.
You really know how to party.
Well, you know me, old thing, what? Anyway, all this carried on through the 70s with the birth of the supergroups. Led Zeppelin. Would that thing float? Deep Purple, Queen, and all those other big bands, they continued their success. Ah, yes. Queen, is that Her Majesty? I believe not. But anyway, some rock composite by the name of Queen held a party where dwarfs clad in leather carried around huge bowls of coke. Once saw a dwarf once, tiny chap, didn't have any drugs though. Anyhow, by the late 70s we'd moved on, and Johnny Rotten and the punk movement and the rest of those spitting, tuneless people came on the scene, and they were chasing the alligator like nobody's business.
Corinthian, they chased the dragon.
Oh. Well, that makes more sense, I suppose.
Yes, smoking heroin is called chasing the dragon.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Good to know. I'll make a point of that for the next book.
Yeah, lots of them died from overdosing on these drugs, and record companies had made a fortune selling records after they died. Even Elvis died that way.
No. The king was pure. Surely he died on the levee sniffing some girl's panties or some such, but not drugs.
Yeah, he did.
I refuse to believe that. I was thinking he was taken back by his space brethren. Yes, that's much more likely.
Jesus, you were taken into space and dropped on your head. How the fuck did you get tenure?
Pictures of the dean with the horny baboon. What else?
Well, it's true about Elvis, anyhow. He was joined by Keith Moon, John Belushi, Jim Hendrix, Jim Morrison, even Janis Joplin. All of them died from drug overdose.
Never heard of a lot of them, but, well, apart from that Jim Morrison, didn't he create the Muppets? Fabulous television show, got a lot out of that.
No, Corey, he didn't. He was the lead singer of The Doors. The Muppets was Jim Henson. Fuck it.
Oh, I thought that Henson chappie was, the Jimmy Henson Experience, but maybe I'm getting that wrong, too.
You are so down with the kids.
Yes, and thank you very much for saying so, Holding. And then, finally, as we rolled into the late 1970s, of course, we came on to cracked cocaine.
It's crack cocaine. You know, crack. Rocks, bass, a highly addictive form of coke that took over the streets, destroying lives and communities all over the United States. Thousands died.
Oh, so that's what they had me smuggling in those artifacts. It was,
You what?
Yes, it played bloody hell with everything. It totally ruined the carbon dating.
All right, well, what Corinthian means to say is we'll see you next week for episode 12, the 1980s, Wall Street, Dynasty, and Reaganomics, and Just Say No to Drugs.
Well, old thing, why don't you come on over here and...
Professor!
That's one. 2, count them off with me. 3. And now it's time for our useless stoner weather news.
Like, I've been asked by this lame dude if I'll read the weather, which is like so random. He said, "Hey, you're cool, and can you read these for us? Our weather dude has gone sick, and we need someone to do it for us." So I said, whatever. So here I am. Here's your weather for... let's see, the weather for the Bay Area tonight will be dark, getting brighter towards the morning, then really, really bright by lunchtime when I'm getting some more weed, of course, then a pizza. Yeah, pizza is like great, like the king of food, right? Other than chips or ice cream, which I also dig. Especially when I get the munchies, but usually pizza. Fuck Domino's though. They're like really lame. Their driver thinks it's so hot, but he's an asshole. Yeah. So what was I doing? Weather, right? Okay. Just what says here? Moist, warm wind coming off the sea. so it could be like foggy in the morning with a chance of some high pressure from the east, which is where my mom lives. The afternoon. The afternoon should be cool but hot, so I recommend some air conditioner, decent sound, some nice golden goats, or a super lemon haze to smoke. Of course, weed is the best thing. Before sliced bread or after, well, you get my gist. Yeah, so before going out with some buds to party, take note of weather, stay high, and peace out.
Before we sign off on this drug-filled bugle, we would like to give a shout out to Texas bugler Lewis on his newest edition, Baby Allen, which made his way into the world on Friday, September 11th. Congratulations, Lewis. Can't wait for his indoctrination. Thanks for listening to the second Buglr podcast on our special drug-inspired
and probably infused
episode. Any comments, suggestions, listener mail, or porn can be sent to wearebuglers@gmail.com.
And follow us on Twitter at Buglr Podcast. That's BUGLR Podcast. Again, I've been Rob, she has been Diane, and it's been a pleasure to have you with us. And I just got your name wrong. It's Diana, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Go away. Leave us alone. Go. Go.